Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Kotu's Francis Atwoli has pledged to support President William Ruto's government of the day to bring development for the people of Western Kenya. Speaking in the presence of the President in Kakamega, Atwoli also urged political leaders in the region to join hands with the President.
Mimi ni kiongozi wa wafanyikazi wa kimataifa na hapa kwetu. Na kukiwa na mambo ama mikutano mikubwa ya wafanyikazi kama kule Tanzania, mimi ndio nitakuwa huko kufungua huo mkutano na kiongozi wa nchi hiyo. Madam Suluhu Hassan aniulize, ndugu Atwoli, kule Kenya kukoje? Nimwambie kuko sawa. Swali lile atakalofuatisha atauliza, how is the administration of William Samoei Ruto? Nyinyi mnatarajia nimwambie mimi niko kwa Azimio na ngojea serikali ya Azimio? Sisi tutakuunga mkono. Your Excellency, you are free. Come here wakati wowote.
At the same time, Ruto said that he's ready to work with any leader, further assuring Atwoli that he'll give jobs to former Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala and former sports CS Rashid Chesa.
Watu wa Kakamega pia na watu wa Western, mimi nataka niwahakikishie ya kwamba wakati tutapanga harakati ya maendeleo na tayari tumeanza, hakuna sehemu ya Kenya itawachwa nyuma.
Bado tunangojea tusikie vijana wetu wengine wamepata kazi kidogo kama wakina Malala. Rashid atanisumbua sana akiwa na njaa. It will be more peaceful kama these my two boys. Because they will make a lot of noise. Na unawajua.
Umesema ina wasiali hapa, ina ndugu yangu Rashid hapo hapo, Malala yuko area. Na naona mmewatetea, lakini ni kweli. Mmesema hao watu wanaweza kuwa wasumbufu sana. Na mimi nakubaliana na nyinyi. Hawa watu usiwatafutia kazi watasumbua. Kwa hiyo nitawapanga, msikuwe na wasiwasi.
Meanwhile, the President has directed the Foreign Affairs Ministry to surrender land to allow for the expansion of the Technical University of Kenya. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony of a library facility at the institution, the head of state indicated that the land will offer more space for the university to erect enough facilities and accommodate more students. He asked the institution to work in tandem with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in an agreement that it will see more space within the vicinity of the university's main campus freed up. Now, a group of petitioners have moved to court seeking the suspension of the 50 billion shillings Hustler Fund launched by President William Ruto last week. In the petition filed against the Attorney General, President William Ruto and 6 other individuals, lawyers Bernard Odero Okello and Kevin Doe Masharia argued that the Hustler Fund was launched before the establishment of an advisory board to, among other things, provide oversight in the administration of the kitty. According to the petitioners, the absence of the board is a violation of the Constitution and related legislation concerning public finance, an argument supported in another petition on the same filed by lobby group Operation Linda Ugatuzi. Now, a tribunal formed by the President to probe the conduct of 4 suspended IEBC commissioners is set to host a status conference today, during which 3 commissioners who have tendered their resignation are expected to file their letters. The Justice Agri Muchelule-led tribunal is expected to only probe the petitions against Commissioner Irene Masit, whose lawyer David Kipkorir insists that she has not resigned. Commissioner Francis Onderi threw in the towel a week after his suspension. In his letter to the President, Onderi says that his decision has been necessitated by undue and unwarranted public lynching based on falsified information tainting his reputation and integrity. This as Commissioner Irene Masit chose to stay put, expected to defend her role as an IEBC commissioner. Reports from the tribunal indicate that a status conference today will take stock of recent developments among the suspended commissioners, during which the commissioners or their legal representatives should furnish the tribunal with the said resignations. The team will still have to write the report to the President in accordance with the terms of service. We will be keeping tabs on this developing story and be sure that we'll be bringing you the very latest. Now, all the 10 Nairobi County Executive Committees appointed by Governor Johnson Sakaja await for swearing into office after being unanimously approved by the Nairobi County Assembly yesterday. The Nairobi County Assembly expressed their satisfaction with the nominees after the Committee on Appointments vetted them Wednesday, with each nominee taking 45 minutes. The Nairobi MC has asked the CECs to serve the residents diligently. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
The Spice Newswire is brought to you by Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. Go ahead and get yours today. It's your time.
SpiceFM, Nyeri.
You know, when you see someone being jailed, a governor or two or someone who stole, then people will fear. Because our problem is not the borrowing, it's the stealing.
We've become actually a nation of thieves. The only thing we lack is an opportunity to steal.
The guys who quote the Bible and say I'm a Christian and all that, and you know they're thieves, return what you have stolen 4 times. If you know that you have property or anything that you have stolen, just return and say, my God does not allow me to hold stolen things.
We are also a reflection of you, because you elect us. You know, we don't get into our office by ourselves. We are a reflection of the people who elect us.
We don't want to go to the streets. We have a constitution that enables us to assert our will.
When the legislators are now being taken as hostage by the executive for whatever reason, we are now bound by what they want us to do.
This is just outside the realms of reality. We have impunity written into the DNA of our political class.
How old were you when you learned that Jeshi Lokop is Jeshi Lawokop?
I can't say it very well. Well, I'm to Jeshi Lokop.
And everyone knows. Okay.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It looks like a little bit of traffic is already building up on Mombasa Road today. And you know why that is? So that place right around General Motors, they were working on it overnight. And so they're not quite done by the time morning came. And so they're trying to get those machines out of the way. So inbound traffic on Mombasa Road slows down quite a bit as you're trying to get out towards the general direction of the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. So those roadworks continue. Excuse me. They're going to leave in a short while. So just so you know, if you're approaching from Imaradaima inbound, it's going to slow down some. Traffic hasn't really started to pick up in different parts of the city this morning. We're seeing on the Thika Superhighway, you should be into the city without any issues whatsoever. Even Landys at this time when we see that it's going to be packed is not having too much of an issue. Keep an eye on things as Friday starts. It's SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's keep it there and keep things moving this Friday.
Spice FM, Malindi. This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room. The only way to...
It's Friday, the 9th of December, 2022. Here we are, beginning the show. Madam Undu.
Oui, oui, monsieur.
Habari yako?
Salut, salut.
Salut, salut, basi.
Comment ça va?
Ça va bien.
Ouais. Bonne journée. Ouais, bonne journée, mon ami.
Bonne journée. Monsieur Muga.
When you people speak a language you know full well I don't understand, the best I can do is listen.
Just say oui, oui.
Oui, oui.
Bas. Bas.
Oui, oui.
Bas.
Is there any point at which I stop? I just continue saying oui, oui.
Just oui, oui, oui.
All right, that's good. Punctuation, oui, oui.
Oui. Bon.
Bon. All right. Oui, bon.
How you doing?
Oui, bon.
Okay. You're such a good student, CT. Hey. Now Eric is thinking, actually, I meant the real answer, like how you really do it. Yeah.
Uko na akili ingine ama ni hiyo tu?
Telling you, where? Sheesh.
Ama ni hii tu ya leo?
Ile ya 611.
Hey. Are you ready for the weekend?
Gani? Weekend.
Mavaa jacket zile mbili.
Zile jacket.
Double jacket.
Yes.
Yes. This is the December.
Kushtua watu.
Ni December.
December. Tuko wazima lakini wapendwa.
Sisi? Tuko wazima bana.
Kama tuko na wewe. Tuko sawa.
Sisi tuko na wewe, tuko sawa.
Okay. Na mko kwenye kile chama ambacho kinaitwa Usawa Party.
Hapana, sisi tunasimama tujibebe.
Fanya haraka, kazi inaisha party.
Ile.
Yeah, it's been too cold in this studio. Yeah. Everybody, welcome to Kenya's big... What's that? Your phone?
Samsung.
Pesa inaingia?
Samsung inatuambia tuko hapa.
You know, every morning uko na automatic near hustler.
I don't even apply.
Pesa ya hustler inakuja tu pa kila asubuhi 6:15. Let me tell you what we'll be discussing today. So, tomorrow is the World Human Rights Day and marks the end of what?
The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence.
Yeah.
Yes.
So today our conversations will be centered around the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence and human rights. At 7 a.m., we are going to be hosting the ambassador of Denmark to Kenya, Ole Tonke. So Ole Tonke will be here to talk about the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence and what they... Well, of course, we'll also talk about the relationship between Kenya and Denmark and how long the Danes have been here with us and whether Ragnar Lothbrok is alive.
Wow. Yeah, okay. Please tell CT what you just said.
Oh, no. I know Ragnar.
Okay.
You know Ragnar?
I know Ragnar. Sile jamaa wa Vikings yule.
Bas.
I know that guy. Nilimwona yule. Bado yuko lakini.
Sasa huyu atatuambia. Huyu atatuambia huyu.
Labda ni jamaa yake.
Labda ni jamaa yake. Now, this man is called Ole Tonke. Those are his two names.
He's the Masai from Copenhagen.
No, let me just ask. Ole is his first name.
Ole.
Ole. Ole. So your nyimbo was after him.
Yeah.
Yani.
Na Ole, lakini si Waspaniard pia wako na Ole.
Ole is like an exclamation. It's like yalla in Arabic.
What's the equivalent in Kiswahili? Mashallah.
Bas.
Bas, hiyo. Yeah, so he'll be here. Wacha atakuja saa moja. We'll ask him about all those names, whether he knows Olekina, Oledama.
Or whether Ntaraiwa and Narok East, those brothers.
Oledama, Olekina, Oletonke, Olelenku. Same was up. Protest Sayende is the chairman of the International Commission of Jurists Kenya chapter. He will be joining us at 9 a.m. to talk about Human Rights Day and the progress that Kenya is making towards human rights. How far down the road are we? Especially if you look at the Bill of Rights chapter in our Constitution. How well are we in ensuring that those rights are actually being realized by the people of the Republic of Kenya and the visitors in the Republic of Kenya? Hiyo yote ni leo hii Friday na mtutumie kakitu. Namba yetu ni 07. Haya, tell us about COVID.
Let me do that. 600 and this computer, see, behave. Thank you very much. 652,154,385. Those are the COVID cases around the world so far. It looks as though COVID has taken a backseat in terms of conversations, whereas it was front and center for the last 2.5 years. We're getting to a point whereby it's something that folks have put on the back burner, and it's just bubbling there. But, when we can do something about it, we will. If we need to turn up the heat, we will. If we need to lower the heat, we will. Do we need to add an ingredient here or add some water? But it looks like that is the thrust of the COVID conversation now, that it is no longer front and center, that if something pops up, the world health bodies will, come in and deal with the situation or tell us what we need to do. But in terms of COVID being a threat to humanity, it looks as though it's dropped down some of those points. The Ministry of Health tells us that 57 people have tested positive from a sample size of 1,040 in the last 24 hours. That gives Kenya a positivity rate of just over 5%. And if we look at other COVID stories, this is just now information, explainers, analyses that are coming out. COVID virus can survive for days on some groceries. That's an interesting story that has come out on the BBC today. They can reside on some ready-to-eat groceries for days, according to UK experts.
Who are those?
Who are what? Who are those
who are residing in what?
COVID, the virus, can reside on some ready-to-eat groceries for days, according to UK experts. The Food Standards Agency purposely smeared the virus on packaging and food products, including fruit, pastries, and bottled drinks. They chose items that people might put in their mouth without cooking or washing. This risk to consumers remains very low, they say. The report says it could be noted that foods and packaging considered as part of this study were artificially inoculated with the SARS virus and therefore are not a reflection of contamination levels found on these foods at retail, and lower levels of contamination will require less time to decline to undetectable levels. So they've said the noteworthy findings was that there was a significant drop in the levels of virus over the last 24 hours, but in some cases traces survived for a week, according to the University of Southampton. For a highly infectious agent such as COVID, which can be transmitted through touching contaminated surfaces than the face, the findings are noteworthy. The public may be interested in finding that virus may persist in an infectious state on foods and food packaging surfaces for days. So there's adding of information that there's no need for shoppers to take precautions when handling food other than washing your hands before preparing it and rinsing fresh produce to help to remove any contamination on the surface. They talked about things like apples, peppers, cheese, ham, olives, crusty bread, and croissant.
What again? What the last thing you mentioned? Oh, croissant.
Yes.
How's it pronounced again?
Croissant.
Even you want to eat, huh?
So just wash, in other words, this long story.
Wash your croissant.
Wash your croissant.
Okay, bye.
Fish crow?
Croissant.
Yes.
Bas. 20 minutes after 6. Are you online? If you are, please let us know where you're tuned in from this morning, and we will do the thing that we normally do, which is a shout out to everybody who's online. Let's take this break. Take a look at the weather forecast. We'll tell you about Kiwi. Today's Friday. When does the draw take place? Wamekutumia message.
Bado. Somebody else wanna be. Of all those names, they saw that my own did not.
Okay, so we are buying Kiwi next week.
So we try again.
For the next one, yes.
In fact, we'll buy 2 so that we increase the chances by 2.
Yes.
I like it.
Buy a tab of Kiwi, open the lid, get the code, dial *459 *5 hash. First of all, get airtime.
Or bundles.
And bundles. Or bundles.
Yeah.
And then win. School fees.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
This is 00 Direct, woman host, music by women, and only women guest.
Everything is so larger than life. You kind of have to have a good understanding of who you are. You could easily lose yourself.
We have a global approach in the programs that we put together, meaning that it's not just about refining my business, it's about refining the industry, it's about touching the youth and making sure that in totality, change actually happens.
Catch 00 Direct every Saturday from 10 a.m.
Only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Earlier on in Nairobi at 16 currently, highs of 24 today, and we'll see highs of 23 in a rainy Nakuru at 13. It's 13 and cloudy in Nyeri, highs of 23, and we'll see highs of 23 in Eldoret, where it's raining at 14. At 25, light rain in Mombasa, highs of 32 and lows of 25, and Malindi is sunny at 25, going to highs of 32 today. We'll see highs of 27 in a rainy Kisumu at 21, and it'll go to highs of 26 in a clear Kakamega at 19. It's 18 degrees and partly cloudy in Kampala, highs of 26 and lows of 18, and we're looking at sunny conditions at 26 in Dar es Salaam, going to highs of 32 and lows of 25. Mostly cloudy conditions at 15 in Johannesburg with highs of 21. It'll come down to lows of 14, and Lagos is clear at 25 with highs of 32. It'll go to highs of 31 in Kinshasa, where it's clear at 22. Looking into Beijing, sunny conditions at 6, highs of 7 and lows of -2. While it's 1 degree and cloudy in Paris, we'll see highs of 2 and lows of -1. It's already below 1 in London, highs of 5 and lows of -2. And New York Thursday night is 7 degrees and mostly cloudy. Coming into Friday, we'll see highs of 12 and lows of 3.
Chilled Spice. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's like that, yeah?
Good morning, Ndisuti, and Eric Goa is looking to be sunny today. I foresee a second handshake. Allah. I so speculate.
Wait. Please don't give Regarding a shag or a heart take.
Please. That is not our aim.
Yeah.
Jojo Mugele says, good morning to my Radio Trinity, tuned in online in Machakos. Good morning to you. Itibo City in Kisi County is where Henry Ochoke is today, and he is saying good morning to you. Wa ebubere mumia. Niko ndani ya mpango mzima wa The Situation Room ndani ya SpiceFM KE. Karibu sana, sana, sana. And good morning. Ruto's daughter says good morning once again. Tuned in from Nyali, Mombasa. That's where Ajigo is. And Embakasi Tasia is where Mark Murunga is this morning. Who else? Many other people. Michaels Osaka says, good morning. You are indeed voices of reason. A very, very good morning to you. Tune in from Utawala. That's where Newton is. Dennis Sige is in Kisumu. And Dominic Nyabuto says, good morning to Pamoja. Yes, we are. Wa Ashley Wa Macha says good morning. David says good morning. Already in. He's tuning from Parklands. And looking great, people. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you, Jackie Johnson. Ruben Gitahi says Tukunda.
Inside.
Yeah. Daniel Wafula says good morning, following live. And MCI is tuning in this morning. Samuel Mataiga is tuned in as well. People keep trickling in. Thanks for joining us. Karibuni Sana. Peter Wagongo says, good morning, Eric, Ndu and Muga. Happy to hear your great voices. The city centre is tuned. Welcome.
Everybody, Karibu. CT? Creole it away.
Nope. Today
you're not doing that.
I'm not creoling it. I'm merely going to read a proverb in
but why?
The English language, and I will leave it at that.
You go leave it at that.
At that. Okay?
You no go give it Creole.
Nope.
Okay.
This one is simple. I'm sure even in Creole it would sound exactly the same. A black cow also gives white milk.
A black cow also gives white milk.
Yes.
So, in addition to black milk, it also gives white milk.
No.
Or
faulty arithmetic.
In addition to white cows and or black spotted cows and or brown cows and or grey cows, a black cow also gives white milk.
10 out of 10.
Thank you very much.
That's the one.
Yes.
But have you tried the other one? Test my theory.
Which was?
Huh?
Which was?
In addition to black milk, a black cow also gives white milk.
Okay.
The syntax of the sentence is a bit confusing.
This particular student is going to have to repeat this class. There are things he clearly doesn't understand. Or perhaps he's way ahead of his class, so we need to promote him to the next class.
Yes, well.
Perhaps it's a thing that geniuses are made of.
Yes, perhaps.
Perhaps.
So if you really love me. Okay. Leave that alone. Let me tell you about the Standard Insider. www.standardmedia.co.ke. Log on to Standard and then you get access to the best incisive content. Whether it's text, audio, visual, photography, kila kitu, you'll get there. And all you need to do is subscribe for 199 bob a month. And with that, you save 100 shillings if you bob bear the Standard Insider this month. Please do so. What's on the front pages?
On the front page of the Standard this morning, why Raila called off the Jamhuri rally. Okay, there's a why. And it looks as though some fences are being mended in Western Kenya. It's a very interesting picture of President William Ruto received by COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli during his Western tour yesterday. It will be another round of Zoya is out. Egerton University Vice Chancellor jailed for contempt of court.
Was he jailed alone?
I'll tell you that story in a minute. When I also tell you that there's a report here saying that why women are angrier today than 10 years ago. Allah, what's wrong?
Same women.
Baby, calm down.
Well, 10 years is a long time. It's enough time for you to accumulate a lot of anger.
Accumulate some more anger over 10 years. Why is everybody so angry?
So surely, if I was angry a little bit 10 years ago.
Now you're angry a lot a bit.
Well, a lot of bit. Years are many. So incremental.
Okay. Apparently, there's a bittersweet pill for Kenyans from the World Bank. The lender has proposed a bag full of sensitive reforms to spur Kenya's economic recovery, handing President William Ruto's regime some tough choices of fueling growth while safeguarding investor confidence and appeasing a restless population scorched by the high cost of living. That's what's on the front page of The Nation. The Kusi Ideas Festival called for climate funding. This is interesting. We've seen many things happening. Yesterday, Scotland calls for going back, the UK rather, calls for going back into the coal mines. Not even a month shy of COP27.
Had they left?
Had no sooner than.
But that tells you that the plans had been there even before.
So all of this COP27 and meeting with the world is window dressing.
Actually, the meetings aren't bad. The point where they start prescribing and telling us how we should behave.
This is the thing.
Yeah. That's
come and tell us how we should behave,
yes,
but you have other intentions.
That's now where. Yes. Well, they can, by all means, tell us.
You can do whatever you can say.
They can, but we must learn to ignore them.
Absolutely.
Completely. Because a lot of it is just pure and diluted bunk.
Because if you want to look back in history, the entire just before it was the coal revolution, and everything was run on coal, from engines to industry. And many could say that they really did a dip into the environment because of what they did. And they want to go back into that practice. It'll be very interesting to see. What else is on The Nation? Again, why Raila called off his parallel Jamhuri rally. And on the back page of The Nation, school heads to wait longer for transfers back to home counties. Audit projects in Uhuru's last 5 years. MPs are saying, we want to know. Fungua Sava.
They want to audit
projects
of the last 5 years.
Yes. I'll tell you.
You know, this parliament is 70% of the 12th parliament.
So you're basically saying we want to audit the things that we have been passing.
Absolute stupidity.
We passed them. We made them law. Now we want to know what it is that was we did.
There seems to be a thinking among our lawmakers in this country that the rest of the people with whom they share this space called Kenya don't. Stupid. Yes, it boils down to that we don't seem to understand, we don't seem to see, and that anything they tell us, we'll just lap it up and consume and believe. And yet, they didn't give themselves these jobs.
No.
This is what they forget. Well, let me just say this right out. They're in for a surprise. These next 5 years are not going to be like the other 5 years.
Nope.
They will not be. So if they wish to continue in the manner that they did in the previous 5 years, well, by all means, do so. Do so.
There's the Business Daily.
Business Daily. KRA starts crackdown on hidden employee perks, which means KRA is looking for new ways of taxing you yet again.
Same people.
Gabisa.
Okay.
Agency wants per diem, overtime, and dinner perks taxed. Told you. About 230,935 top earners unknown to the state. How? They're in this country, they earn money, and they are unknown to the states. How?
At about what? 230,000?
Especially 231,000. This one we mentioned earlier on in the week. I'm just repeating it. They are
top earners.
Top earners, yes. They're unknown to the state.
Okay.
So
how do you know the number?
This is the thing that I really wonder, because I said, well, I think it's about, you have the figures and yet you don't know them. How? Does it make sense to you? Okay. Then, lower down, Ruto's big shots freed from 30 billion fraud tax suits. That's in the quotes.
Ruto's big shots.
Yes, that's what they say. Ruto seems to have some big
combined
shots. Yes, it looks like it. I'll read the story so you can understand it.
Yeah, the Star.
Star. Mother's anguish over children slain by cops. They turned up in court to see an officer who was to be charged with extrajudicial killing. Okay? That is headline.
Okay.
Then down kidogo, two pictures. Ruto on the one side, Raila on the other side. Why Raila is under fire over Ruto's Hustler Fund.
Raila is under fire.
Yes, why Raila is under fire over Ruto's Hustler Fund. That is ile sub-headline ile.
Huh? Okay.
Then on the side, there's a young lady who seems to be hitting the headlines. Charlene Ruto visits irrigation agency chair. That one is on the side. The picture.
The picture?
Okay. Is irrigation agency in a Naivas?
I'm not really certain about what's going on here.
Okay.
But kudos to the young lady. Whatever it is you're doing, you seem to be doing a good job. Keep it up.
Properly.
Keep it up.
By the end of this campaign, whatever she's on, everybody, she'll have face and name recognition.
Keep it up. That's how you go about it.
Yep.
Keep it up.
Face and name recognition. You'll see Charlene Ruto, you'll recognize her.
Endelea na hiyo tu ni mzuri namna hiyo.
Kabisa.
Yes.
26 minutes to 7. Let's take a break and take a look at the traffic. We'll be back shortly to look at more at the headlines in depth.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Yolanda Mulo and DJ Absolute. When the gang is together, you know it's
sugar and spice.
Great vibes, conversations, a lot of humor. I like to say we don't give an F, we give 3 Fs.
You and I are in this relationship, so it is me to tell you who we are.
When you ask a chick, how many guys have you been with? She's like, including you. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock. If I were you, I'd tune in to SpiceFM 94.4.
I want you on my team.
So does everybody else.
Yeah. All right, so I think those folks who are working overnight seem to have moved from Mombasa Road, and still traffic is flowing a lot freer than it was earlier, and they might be back tonight. So if you wake up tomorrow morning, you just know that they're trying to sort out that design flaw right around General Motors in and outbound. On Jogo Road this morning, we see some traffic, and that's moving along as you go towards Landis, which in and outbound traffic there is already doing the thing. And if we look into the CBD, everybody's coming in from different directions. The thicker superhighway doesn't look too bad at all. Folks are using the service lane, but as you get to Pangani, that slows down as you're trying to get then into the city. Let's take a look at Westlands, where the action is not really up and up, at least not for now. Looks like Friday morning is a slow start. We'll look at what's happening in other parts of the city, of the country. Let us know on SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Sugar and spice and everything nice.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
24 minutes to 7. Opio lover. Opio lover. There's a man called Opio and I. You've heard of him, eh?
Yes.
He's Mheshimiwa. Mheshimiwa is the new leader of the minority in the National Assembly. He called a press conference yesterday, and this is just a day after they had spent an entire day at Kamukunji grounds with the leadership of the Azimio coalition. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
On that day, on Wednesday, the Azimio leaders, led by Raila Odinga, had maintained that they will proceed with plans to have a parallel rally on Jamhuri Day. What is Jamhuri Day?
12th of December.
Which is which day?
It is It's Sunday. Wait. Today's
Cannot
what?
be Sunday.
It's Monday.
Monday.
It's Monday. Yeah.
So Monday. Wednesday, Raila says Monday.
Oh, Monday's a holiday.
Yes.
Okay.
Raila says Monday. Tunaenda Jacaranda.
Yes.
All of us. Okay? And we will have a parallel rally. Rais atakuwa huko Nyayo Stadium, sisi tutakuwa hapa. Sawa? Sawa? Sawa?
Yes, sir.
Wacha niende kwa mkono. And the people raised their hands. Yesterday, Opio and I calls a press conference and says, you know what? Actually, the leadership of Azimio, all of them, are not going to be around come Monday and a few days afterwards. So that rally, you imagine it can't happen.
I tell you what?
A rally. Imagine it can't happen.
What will they be?
See, they have other engagements.
It's a public holiday.
Yeah, so that's why they'll having other engagements. On Monday and a few days thereafter. This is what they said. So they cancelled that rally that they had asked people to go for. The cancellation has been occasioned by upcoming engagements that will keep the party's top leaders away in the run-up to Jamhuri and a few days after.
I need you to read that again.
In a statement read by Minority Leader in the National Assembly, Opio and I, the coalition says it will continue with its rallies across the country in the coming days, but they have cancelled the Jamhuri Day rally. The cancellation has been occasioned by upcoming engagements that will keep the party's top leaders away in the run-up to Jamhuri Day and a few days after. That is what the statement was saying.
Okay.
So they knew that they were going to be away, then they said they're going to have a rally. And then now they had forgotten that they were going to be away, and then they had called for the rally. And then they realized yesterday, and they're like, Opio, Ebu, go and tell people
That
we're
we're not
going
going to be around.
Yeah.
We had thought we would be there, but
Yes.
You know, this thing.
And that
They
is
had
answering
not-
the question, that's the headline of the Standard today. Why Azimio big shots called off Jamhuri Day
They're busy.
parallel rally?
They're busy.
Yeah, they have other engagements.
You know, there's this thing isn't in isolation, really.
Which thing?
This announcement. If you remember the time leading up to the elections, two top contenders for the presidential seat happened to be in the UK. There's a place called Chatham. And I live at Chatham. Like I'm told it's pronounced. Do you the expert in this?
Chatham.
Chatham.
That one.
That place. Now when they were Chatham, okay. What happened was certain commitments were made. They were asked specifically, if you recall, should you win? What about the opposition? And both said, committed to, will ensure that there's a strong opposition, blah, 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 instituted, blah, 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 instituted.
Right.
Okay? Chetam. Now, the thing about these things is that you say them and certain people will hold you to account and say, Nani, remember you said.
Yeah.
Okay? Now we have a situation where the country is where it is and we're going through the emotions that we're going through. All I'm saying is, I am beginning to see World Bank, IMF, in my mind they're the same thing, okay?
Yes.
Already telling us this is how you guys are going to behave. You're going to sit at the back of the class and you'll only raise your hand once a day, okay, to answer questions, right? That's them coming in.
And you only go to the washroom when I feel
you need to go to the washroom. Yes, precisely. Yes. So otherwise, just lock it, okay? So.
Yeah.
Then you have a situation where you have a rally. And the rally is actually building up. The rallies in this country tend to spur up emotions.
Yep.
Okay? And it could lead to problems. Okay? Then you suddenly, when you've been told we're having Jacaranda, after Jacaranda, we will maybe Mugumo tree. Maybe,
You're really not so right.
So, and it's being called off. I see the big hand of Big Brother. Me naona mkono. I see big hand, Big Brother saying, hey, guys.
We'll relax.
No, we have a bigger plan.
So this thing of yours.
So you, Brother Raila, come.
However, the people that we are talking about here, okay, the makers of promises are not newbies.
No, they're not.
And it's not that they do not have feelers that they send out to these big brothers and others.
No.
So what was his whole game plan? We're going to have a series of rallies. In fact, we are going to have, one of them is going to be a parallel Jamhuri Day, and we'll begin on Wednesday in the run-up to Jamhuri Day, and then thereafter we'll go across the country, and then we are not going to do Jamhuri Day.
That rewind button that you have, you rewind it. What have I always said about politicians and the noises they make? What have I said before?
It's negotiation.
Okay, precisely. So the question we ought to ask is, what are we negotiating for? Yes. And more importantly, how much room do we really have for negotiations here?
Yeah.
The wiggly room is not as wiggly as it used to be. The moment IMF and World Bank check in, wiggly room is reduced significantly.
Properly?
Yes, it is.
Hi. They have work to do in Parliament. I keep insisting on this. Okay? Opiyo Wandayi is the one who read this statement. Not some other person, not Raila himself, not Martha Karua, not Kalonzo Musyoka, Opiyo Wandayi, the leader of minority in the National Assembly. That means there's recognition that he is also in the leadership of Azimio.
Yes.
They have work to do in the National Assembly. What is it that they're doing? 2 people went to court yesterday about Hustler Fund. Have you had any question being raised in Parliament about the Hustler Fund?
No.
Or an MP coming out to ask, okay, so we did not approve for money to be appropriated into this Hustler Fund. How come the money is...
Nada.
What are they doing? Taking us to Jamkuri, Jacaranda, what are those other trees? Mugumo and all those other trees.
So Jacaranda is a tree.
Wasting people's time. They need to be told by those big brothers if they're able to talk to them, because clearly us Kenyans can't talk to our leaders.
Muko na kazi ya kufanya.
Waende wafanye kazi.
Come on.
Kenyans voted on the 9th of August and they elected leaders. Can those leaders now do their work? Not coming back to tell Kenyans to do the work of the leaders.
So we have this Jamhuri thing on Monday.
Yeah.
Not very long ago, we had another Jamhuri thing. What was that one called?
It was called Mashujaa.
Mashujaa Day. Yes, yeah. Exactly. I'm going to see with my own 2 eyes if after having the ceremony and the speech making, people are going to troop to State House to drink tea. I'm waiting to see.
They will.
Uliona vile Samia Suluhu juzi, what did she say?
Samia borrowed a leaf from her
60th year independence.
Yeah.
You people want to splash?
No.
There are hungry people in this country. Take that money and let's set up projects to feed them.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
They are going to State House. And at the same time, on that day, right? On that day, part of the speech that the president is likely to make is, I have constituted a Harambe team so that we can all contribute for our people who are hungry.
Didn't you hear what Nani said yesterday?
Who?
He said, can I not use my 3,000 from the Hustler
I borrow
Fund?
Hustler Fund
Fund. I donate to
the Harambe Kitty.
Harambe Kitty. I use your money to give you the money that you're looking for.
Trendele. Uh-huh.
Right.
Teachers, it's like we're going to have some problems. School heads have to wait longer for transfers back to home counties. So you may ask, why home counties? Head teachers across the country will have to wait longer before they are transferred back to their home counties, even after the government ended the delocalization policy. The Kenya National Union of Teachers urged the more than 10,000 head teachers to be patient as the TSC arranges for their transfers. According to the KNUT Secretary General Collins Oyu, in our collective bargaining agreement, we told TSC to repeal the delocalization policy, and the working environment of the teacher should be one that the professionals feel comfortable in to maximize productivity. Families must be brought as close as possible. So basically you're saying head teachers go home, be attached to a school that is near you, is local, which is a policy that previously had been where you are transferred to as a head teacher is where you will go. The CBA is now asking them to say, you know what, head teachers, allow them to at least be closer to home. Speaking during the ongoing Kenya Primary School Heads Teachers Association conference at the Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Primary School in Mombasa, Oyu said that although the policy has been scrapped, challenges remain. If there is no vacancy where you came from, it will be difficult for TSC to take you back. We are moving very fast to have our heads who are delocalized accommodated back in their former sub-counties or counties. He said that more than 1,000 head teachers were transferred under the policy. It was a silent death for our teachers. The head teachers led by Kepsha, which National Chairman Johnson Nzioka, said the abolishment of delocalization was the best decision. National Assembly Committee on Education Chairman Julius Melly said delocalization is a policy that we discarded as a Kenya Kwanza government. It is not debatable and we will not reverse it. I thank TSC because they have started to reverse it. Teachers can now be reunited with their families. Melly said that while the Teacher Service Commission, or rather Teacher Service Code, states that teachers can work anywhere in the country, they should not be forced to go against their will. In hardship areas, especially the northeastern region, the MP, who is a former teacher, urged county governments to provide teachers a conducive environment to work. Now, although the process is ongoing, it's a bit slow. So, but at least they're in the tunnel and they can see the light. That, we'll get there at some point. We'll be able to work closer to home and closer to our communities. So, c'est un bon chance, no?
Bon chance, kabisa. Kabisa. Let's take a break.
Why?
And do some salams. Okay. So yesterday as I was doing my pilka hapa na pale,
you did
katika hali ya kujenga taifa, and I was just around Nairobi. Okay, just around Nairobi. I went to a place called the Degwa. You know the Degwa?
No.
You know the Degwa?
The what?
The Degwa. It's just here on Kiambu Road. As you head towards Kiambu. All right.
Thi Thindegwa.
It's one word.
Okay, now pronounce it the way it ought to be pronounced.
The Degwa.
Okay, that was like the.
Yeah. So here they are having my chat with my guy, and then this chap comes and says, "Hey, Kuba, I want to say hi to you." I was like, "Hey, what's up? Hi." So he is a courier guy. He does courier services, and he had just come in to deliver a package to a nearby estate. And so he just parked his bike and came and said hi to me and said, "You guys, I listen to you every morning. In fact, I watch you on YouTube every morning."
Voila.
Yes. Go and say hello to Siti Muga and his Proverbs, and Ndu with her English. So
we collectively have been greeted.
Siti with your Proverbs,
I've been
Ndu with your English. Hamujambo.
Hatujambo, kaka.
The man is called Meltus Odongo, and he is listening to us. He's just
Good
sent me a message.
morning,
Says,
Meltus.
I'm watching you guys.
Asante sana Meltus.
Wave at him. Wave.
Hey,
Wave.
Asante sana Meltus.
Kabisa.
Thank you, sir.
Haya, siti tuambie story unayosoma.
Right. There were two stories.
Hmm?
Let's start with the KRA starts crackdown on hidden employee perks, shall we?
Yeah, okay.
The Kenya Revenue Authority has started a crackdown on firms under declaring their payroll in what will see thousands of employees pay taxes on items like overtime, leave, pay, and per diems. The tax ban is targeting a raft of employee benefits and perks running into billions that have been paid to star employees and not subjected to the 30% pay as you earn. Okay? This comes days after official data uncovered an additional 231,000 workers earning above 100,000 monthly who were not captured in state filings, raising fears of tax evasion. The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics revised the pay data for 2.9 million Kenyans employed in the formal sector for the 4 years up to 2020, after it emerged that firms have been omitting some regular perks while reporting the workers' payroll. Now, the KRA has threatened firms with penalties of up to 25% of the evaded tax if they fail to report the hidden allowances. The tax ban wants the firms to inform of its perks as well as...
Turn the page.
Yes. Telephone allowances, dinner cash and per diems in excess of 2,000 per day. And non-cash benefits like gym fees in excess of 3,000 monthly. So essentially, anything that comes to you, anything
is taxable.
Yes, even Fuliza. But Fuliza is taxable.
Ati, gym 3,000 and more per month.
Yes.
The others?
In excess, so long as it goes beyond 2,000 per day.
We're going to tax it.
Tax it.
Sheesh.
And Gary is doing that. That is their response to the challenge by the president. How come we have more people on Safaricom and less people on the tax base?
Right.
Now, they said those in the tax base have actually not been paying enough.
Precisely.
Not been paying enough.
Yes, they haven't. So we must get them to pay. Now, alongside that story was the headline, Ruto's big shots freed from 30 billion fraud tax suits. Now, people owe the tune of 30 billion. They've been set free. Okay? Let me
Then
read
the
this.
one who is trying to look for 2,000 shillings on the tax.
Yes. The paradox of it all. Corruption cases against President Ruto's allies worth close to 30 billion have either been withdrawn or quashed in the recent past, turning the spotlight on the prosecution and investigative agencies in the fight against graft. The cases have fallen in quick succession, raising questions as to whether there was pressure to charge allies linked to Dr. Ruto or there has been interference with the role of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nuruddin Haji. During the campaigns ahead of the August 9th election, Dr. Ruto claimed that his close allies were targeted for political persecutions, and I turned the page, were being intimidated so that they would abandon him. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's 7.3 billion case has since been withdrawn, while businessman Humphrey Kariuki is a happy man after the 17 billion tax evasion charges against him and co-accused were quashed by the High Court. Mr. Kariuki's factory, which has been shut down by the police, has also been reopened. Just in case you're thinking it's safe to get out of the water, the DPP is also considering withdrawing a 2.5 billion tax evasion charge against Mary Wambui Muigai, another ally of President Ruto.
See, the DPP just goes to court
and just says,
look, everything that we've brought here in the last 5 years, please just remove it. He should just actually just go and do that instead of wasting our time.
Can I also add to what you're saying?
Yeah.
Since you come to Jamhuri Day, why don't they just say that everyone was in remand? Everyone remand, and in police cells, go home.
Just go home. Let's
start
we'll
start from fresh.
Yeah.
Yes, Kabisa.
At this rate, because you don't want to start doing piecemeal, one taste. No.
Everybody.
No hors d'oeuvres, no soup. Just get to the main meal. Everybody.
Yes.
Out.
And all those who are in jail, just since Jamhuri Day Monday, have the sentences.
Bas.
Yes, have the sentences. Yes,
I mean,
so that people feel that freedom has actually come. Because when those jail doors are open, those guys will definitely feel freedom.
Yes.
And they can walk out. Since everyone is walking out, you might as well let everybody
why are you stopping Quarterway?
Yes.
Go all the way.
Yes.
Aye. So Nordin Haji has very many questions to answer.
He does.
Nordin Haji has just so many questions. I'm like, what
on earth?
On the one hand, let these people go. On the one hand, please pay some more.
Yeah, jokes. So yesterday, people of Bungoma County went to the polls to elect a new senator, right? And the main among the leading contenders was Wafula Wakoli of Ford Kenya, Wafula Munyinyi of Azimio, and Mwambu Mabonga of UDA, among others. The provisional results so far indicate that Wafula Wakoli of Ford Kenya has 52,381 votes, while Mwambu Mabonga of UDA has 31,092 votes, and Wafula Munyinyi of Asmio has 12,671 provisionally. Okay. Yeah. How many polling stations left? Several, like Tongaren, not yet recorded.
It's the same IEBC who's carrying out this thing, Abi?
Same one. Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Same one.
Okay.
So it looks like, either way, this one, Kenya Kwanza, Ford Kenya, the candidate, Wafula Wakoli, is headed to victory to replace the Ford Kenya leader, Moses Wetangula, who's now Speaker of the National Assembly.
That's good. Speaking of IEBC, Wanderi becomes the third of IEBC official to resign. Electoral Agency Commissioner Francis Wanderi yesterday resigned from his post, becoming the third of the 4 besieged officials to quit. His resignation comes days after being suspended from office by President William Ruto. Mr. Wanderi is among 4 independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission commissioners who were set up to face a tribunal on their conduct during the August elections. The 4 commissioners rejected the presidential elections results that saw President Ruto be declared the winner, saying the tail end of the verification and tallying process was opaque. Francis Wanderi, and I quote, as I tender my resignation today, I do so not because I am guilty of the allegations leveled against me. Justice Nyangaya was the first to call it quits on Friday, with Vice Chairperson Juliana Cherera following suit on Monday. Commissioner Irene Masit has stuck to her guns with her lawyer Donald Kip-Korir yesterday, saying she's ready to face the Justice Mushalule-led tribunal. The tribunal sits today for its first status conference to set the ground rules. In his letter of resignation to President Ruto, Mr. Wanderi defended his actions and accused Wafula Chebukati of high-handedness, dictatorial mannerisms, and devoid of principles of good corporate governance. He said that I do so not because I am guilty of the allegations leveled against me by the petitioners, but because there comes a time when the country is more important than any individual.
There come a time. There come a time.
So it's like that.
By the way, this isn't the end of a story. This is the beginning of a story.
This is when it starts to get interesting.
Yes, because this is something that is a landmark of sorts. We've never had this happening. It's happening for the first time.
What? Commissioners resigning?
No, commissioners actually doing what these commissioners did. And then the resigning, people have resigned before.
But tribunal has been called.
We've had tribunals. Oh, we just had tribunals before. We've had tribunals before. Yes.
Commissioners going to Serena is what we haven't.
Yes, we haven't had. So whatever, you see, there's something I was taught in physics. By the way, I did not understand physics in school. I still don't understand it. But I remember that there are certain things that relate to physics. There's something about an equal and opposite action. Yeah, that's the bit that
as
I remember.
As a reaction.
Yes. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Essentially, a decision is made. What you've done is set certain things in motion. Yes. Now, the outcome, it doesn't matter how clever you are, you can never really tell.
Never predict.
Not really.
It's a gamble.
Yes. But things have been set in motion.
Yeah. Keep it here for more conversations. We are commemorating the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and our conversations today will be around that and human rights, because tomorrow is the World Human Rights Day as well. We'll have a guest in the studio. Have you bought Kiwi? Buy Kiwi. Stand a chance of winning. This is basically stand up and
Shine.
Step up and shine.
Step up and shine, not
Well,
stand up.
No.
Even
Please stand up, then step up
Step
and
up
shine.
and shine.
Do
Yes.
all.
Sawa, 7 a.m. Good morning.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. We start from Bungoma County with the latest from the senatorial by-election there, where the Bungoma County senatorial aspirant to the Ford Kenya ticket of Wafula Okoli continues to lead, followed by Wafula Munyinyi of DAPK. So far, the results of the votes counted by IEBC show that Wakoli is leading in all the 7 constituencies. This as the win is expected to be announced any time from now. In Kabuchai, Wakoli has 11,728 votes. Mwambu 2,824, Munyinyi 1,150, in Kandui Wakoli 11,423, Mombo 4,339, and Wamunyinyi 8,159. In Kimilili, Wakoli has 6,341, Mombo 2,981, and Wamunyinyi 11,231. In Mount Elgon, Wakoli has 5,855, Mwambu 573. We continue to follow up on the development there. We will be bringing you the very latest in a subsequent news bulletin as the results continue to trickle in. Now, Kotu's Francis Atwoli has pledged to support President William Ruto's government of the day to bring development for the people of Western Kenya. Speaking in the presence of the president in Kakamega, Atwoli urged political leaders in the region to join hands with the president.
Mimi ni kiongozi wa wafanyikazi wa kimataifa na hapa kwetu, na kukiwa na mambo ama mikutano mikubwa ya wafanyikazi kama kule Tanzania, mimi ndio nitakuwa huko kufungua huo mkutano na kiongozi wa nchi hiyo, Madam Suluhu Hassan. Aniulize, ndugu Atwoli, kule Kenya kukoje? Nimwambie kuko sawa. Swali lile atakalofuatisha atauliza, how is the administration of William Samoei Ruto? Nyinyi mnatarajia nimwambie mimi niko kwa Azimio na ngojea serikali ya Azimio? Sisi tutakuunga mkono. Your Excellency, you are free. Come here wakati wowote.
At the same time, Ruto said that he is ready to work with any leader, further assuring Atwoli that he'll give jobs to former Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala and former sports CS Rashid Echesa. And President William Ruto has directed the Foreign Affairs Ministry to surrender land to allow for the expansion of the Technical University of Kenya. Speaking during groundbreaking ceremony of a library at the institution, the head of state indicated that the land will offer more space for the university to erect enough facilities and accommodate more students. He asked the institution to work in tandem with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in an arrangement that will see more space within the vicinity of the university's main campus freed up. Ruto noted that he was cognizant of the constraints facing TUK, which is located at the heart of Nairobi in terms of competition for space with government departments and agencies around it. And a group of petitioners have moved to court seeking the suspension of the 50 billion shillings Hustler Fund launched by President William Ruto. In the petition filed against the Attorney General, President William Ruto and 6 other individuals, lawyers Bernard Odero Okello and Kevin Ndoho Masharia argued that the Hustler Fund was launched before the establishment of an advisory board tasked to, among other things, provide oversight in the administration of the kitty. According to the petitioners, the absence of the board is a violation of the Constitution and related legislation concerning public finance, an argument supported in another petition on the same filed by lobby group's Operation Linda Ugatuzi. And the tribunal formed by President William Ruto to probe the conduct of 4 suspended IEBC commissioners is set to host status conference today, during which 3 commissioners who have tendered their resignation are expected to file their letters. The Justice Agri Muchelule-led tribunal is expected to only probe the petitions against Commissioner Irene Masit, whose lawyer David Kipkorir insists that she has not resigned. Commissioner Francis Onderi threw in the towel a week after his suspension. In his letter to the President, Onderi says that his decision has been necessitated by undue and unwarranted public lynching based on falsified information tainting his reputation and integrity. This adds Commissioner Irene seat just to stay put, expected to defend her role as an IEBC commissioner. Reports from the tribunal indicate that a status conference today will take stock of recent development among the suspended commissioners, during which the commissioners or their legal representatives should furnish the tribunal with the said resignations. The team will still have to write a report to the president in accordance with the terms of reference. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
The Spice Newswire is brought to you by Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. Go ahead and get yours today. It's your time.
I think we'll keep seeing some action on Mombasa Road, and that's heading inbound to the city. We're also looking at Jogo Road, which interestingly is not too packed today, just at that train station and then out towards the City Stadium roundabout. But then on Landis, it's going to clog up as you're going towards Kamkunji and then out into the city. Thika Superhighway hasn't looked too clogged, but then we're seeing that a survey through to Pangani, that drama is going on as it is on Kiambu Road. We're likely to see this pack up as we get closer and closer to 7:30. Coming out of Westlands, it doesn't look too bad. Not for now. James Gishoro, not much going on here. And Waiakere looks pretty good as you're trying to get into the CBD. So let's keep at it, folks. Anything does get out of whack, let us know on SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 minutes after 7. Good morning and welcome to the second hour of The Situation Room. It's Friday. Happy Friday, 9th day of December 2022. So, Ndu, you said from Monday we start singing?
Yes, since we won't be here on Saturday.
But ordinarily it starts on Saturday, tomorrow.
Oh, so you said the 12th. Sorry, yes, Monday.
Yeah?
It's the 12th, Monday.
That's when we start singing?
Yes.
And you start counting them as on the 12th day of Christmas?
On the first day of Christmas.
So 12th will be the first day?
12th will be the 25th. Okay, I get what you're saying. The 12th will be the first day of Christmas, yes. I'm with you, don't worry. All is well.
And that's what happens on that day? Partridge in a pear tree?
Partridge in a pear tree.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be practicing. Okay. CT, you ready? Monday we start doing the thing.
Which thing?
On the first day my baby gave to me.
Oh, that song.
Yes.
What?
First day of Christmas, my baby said to me.
That one.
The one that sounds something like that.
So baby didn't say anything?
No, baby said nothing.
Hey, okay.
All right.
Well, babies are home. Let's buy kiwi. Tell us about your experience buying kiwi.
Kiwi. Now, step up and shine with kiwi. What we did is I went in the supermarket. We bought a tin of kiwi. Actually, this particular one, the 100 ml, 80 grams. And then I said, okay, let's test this thing. Bought my thing, went out of the supermarket, and then I found the code under. And I sent it to *459 *5#. I got 100 shillings of credit airtime. So that was fantastic. And then I entered a draw, which, there's nothing like bribery and corruption. However, 35,000 shillings should be mine to be able to, send somebody off on school fees, with school fees, come January. So 36 winners of 35,000 shillings until the 7th of February is happening once you step up and shine with Kiwi.
That's all you need to do. Buy, get the code, do *459 *5#. Insert the code, and that's it. You got to do the draw, and you could win. Ni sawa. Bwana Muga,
Yes.
using your Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra with S Pen.
Proceed.
Tell us the proverb for today.
You know, earlier on I said I would not think of a proverb and I would not say it in Creole. I have changed my mind.
This week.
It's a new week.
Okay.
We're in December.
Sawa.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Now let me read. So that proverb of the milk and the cow, forget it. New proverb. Is there any way it says I cannot quote two proverbs the same day? Is there anywhere? Right.
Uh-huh.
This is a proverb from Sierra Leone. The proverbs this week are from the country of Sierra Leone. Okay. When you raise a leopard, you shouldn't be upset when it eats your goat.
Oh, who's raising leopards?
No, that's the proverb.
When you raise a leopard, you shouldn't be upset when it eats your goat.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, in Creole, pause. I'm going to read slowly so that you do not miss anything. When you men le pet, you no feed vex. I do eat you got. Hey.
Why do you say?
Why
did you say leopard? Leopard differently. Why is it different?
According to Creole, it's written leopard. Leopard in Creole is leopard. Please, I'm reading in Creole. Let me read it again. Your Excellency, I'm reading in Creole. Okay. You men, leopard. Okay, I think you've gotten the general idea. Let's go on.
That is not what you said before.
So what? Okay. Is it not okay to hear new things every time I speak? Okay, let's proceed, folks.
Whoa.
Right.
We you men.
Yes, Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra.
That's too much clarity from that device.
Let's proceed.
Too much clarity. Wow. Our guest this morning is the Ambassador of Denmark to Kenya, His Excellency Ole Tonke. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you on the show. We you men le pen.
That's a good way to start.
I know.
A conversation.
Don't be vexed. Karibu sana balozi.
Yes.
So the Danes are, before you came, we had actually talked about, how we're going to welcome you here. And we were looking at your picture and we thought, this guy looks like the son of Ragnar Lothbrok.
I have never heard that before. But I guess I have to say thank you. Yeah.
You're a descendant of the great Viking.
Thank you. but we are Danes. We are descendants of Vikings. Yeah. We're way from up north, and we kind of ruled the world 1,000 years ago. And since then, it went downhill little by little. Yeah.
And you just gave up on becoming conquerors.
Yes.
You became peacemakers.
Exactly. That's what happened.
So what changed that? What is it that made the Vikings change from being conquerors to being kingmakers?
I think
did it just happen?
No, yeah, they definitely started as conquered, and I'm not sure they were as nice as you would like your neighbors to be. But little by little they settled into to trade more and more, and from there on it just developed, and now we thrive off trading with the rest of the world. So
yeah. The other one is a question that is, of course, you've been asked this question very many times in your stay here in Kenya. Is Ole a name?
Indeed.
Or is it
a short form of another name?
Of another name?
No, Ole is a name.
Ole is a name.
Ole is a name.
A
It's
full name.
Yes.
So your name is Ole Tonke.
Tonke.
What does Ole mean?
Yeah, but that's the very, very interesting thing. It means son of or relative to in Nordic.
Okay.
Maasais and Vikings
have similarities.
Very similar.
Imagine.
Yes, they do.
Or Vikings are Maasais.
These guys are Masai.
Masai from Copenhagen.
Yes. So our man Olekina is also Dane. Or Olelenko.
Isn't it amazing about names and similarities as well?
It is. It is. Means son of or a relative of.
Many languages with that.
All right. How long have you been in Kenya, Balozi?
I actually started my I don't know what I should call it, affair with Kenya in 1997 when I was a young student. At that time, I applied to become an intern at the Danish embassies all over the world, and by chance, I ended up in Nairobi. Well, that's 25 years ago now. But I still remember coming with Kenya Airways direct from Copenhagen. That was when you had direct flights. Going through town, picked up by a colleague from the embassy, and she drove me straight to the YMCA downtown, just across Nairobi University.
Yep.
And that was my first time in Africa. And I remember walking into the YMCA. Everybody was so nice and welcoming, and I was shown my small little room. Door was closed, and there I was, and I was thinking, what the hell am I doing here? It was pretty far away from Denmark for me at that time, yeah. But then I mean, soon after, I just started loving it.
Okay. So what were you doing as an intern at the embassy?
Oh, as an intern at an embassy, you're like the lowest and the newest, but also the one that gets a chance to do everything. So I did everything from copying. I sent, at that time, the first official email from the Danish embassy in Nairobi back to Copenhagen. That it was just invented, and me as a young person, of course, it was my job to introduce that technology.
And they expected you to know how to send an email.
Exactly. I had no clue, but I figured out.
Are you sure it went to the right recipient?
I have no idea. We never got a reply.
Oh. That says a lot. How long was your internship then?
Half a year. Mm-hmm. Half a year I spent here, and it was an amazing half year. It was the election year in '97.
Yep.
And staying at the YMCA, there was a lot of African students coming in and out of YMCA because Nairobi University was just next door. And there was a lot of protesters against the current regime at that time. And they were planning demonstrations and riots, etc. At the YMCA, they used that as
that was the base,
a get together kind of once in a while. So it really affected me and how I saw Kenya, young Africans, etc. And I even got caught in some of the riots. One time I got actually, they were throwing stones at everything.
Yeah.
And I was coming home from. I've been to town. My brother was visiting me, and we were at the Florida, where everybody went at that time. Coming back in a taxi, and then we ended up in riots, and they were just stoning the car. So a stone went through the front window and hit me in my forehead on the back seat of the car.
And that was it.
Yeah.
The embassy said, send this guy back home.
No, they said, send that guy to the hospital. And so I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next time you came to Kenya, now I'm assuming is when you now have come as an ambassador.
No. I was back and forth. Because then I got a job at Foreign Affairs, and I was dealing with East Africa at that time, mostly Uganda. But whenever I had the chance, I got back to Kenya once in a while. But then 2009, I came back as the deputy at the embassy with my family at that time. So we spent 4 amazing years traveling all around Kenya and doing all sorts of amazing things and witnessing the new constitution you have in Kenya, etc., etc. So spent 4 amazing years at that time.
And then your current tour of duty.
Yeah.
Now as the official ambassador.
Yeah, and then I was so fortunate I had the chance to be sent back as ambassador. Yeah, so that's my journey of Kenya.
Okay. So you know quite a bit then about this country and about the relations between Kenya and Denmark. Now we've been celebrating and commemorating the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and we've been looking at various angles to gender-based violence, to commitments that we have made as a country towards eliminating gender-based violence. And a commitment made by the former president was 2020?
By 2026, there should have been an end to gender-based violence in Kenya. Tall order, but if anything, then shows hopefully the kind of commitment and importance that it's placed on removing or eliminating violence against any gender and at whatever age. So even as we come to the end of this celebration, and tomorrow marks the end of that, it would be interesting to hear then what your thoughts are and what you've seen on your tour of duty here, but at the same time, coming to Kenya 25 years ago and then seeing the progression of, this particular thing, and then saying, okay, in the next 4 years, will it be possible to bring an end to this? And what are the gains that have been made?
I think that there has been made tremendous gains. I mean, Kenya is a completely different place when it comes to gender-based violence now than 25 years ago. I think if you look at the new constitution from 2010, if you look at the legislation in place, the awareness in the population, let alone the fact that you have a president that says we want to end this by 2026, it's a huge change from 25 years ago. So I think, Kenya should really be commended for pushing the agenda a lot. But on the other hand, the challenge is still there. There are so many Kenyan women who still experience gender-based violence on a daily basis. It's close to half of Kenyan women will experience gender-based violence during their lifetime. So ending that in 4 years' time, as you said, that's a tall order. I think it's impossible to completely eliminate. We have that in Denmark as well. We have men beating up women as well. So it's not a thing you can completely eliminate as such. But of course, you can push it and you can make sure that the laws are in place. You can ensure that justice is being served. And that the perpetrators they get a punishment whenever it happens. So I think that's also an important part of this equation.
What would you say, Your Excellency, is the thinking and the guiding principle behind the international relationship that Denmark has with other countries, specifically in Africa?
I think it's a thinking of equal partnerships, of friendly relations. Denmark. We've been here in Kenya since independence.
Yes.
We've been. Traditionally we've had a lot of development assistance. Now we're moving more and more into trade. We exchange a lot of technical know-how on wind technology, etc., etc. So I think it's a very fruitful relation where both Kenya and Denmark benefits.
The reason why I asked the question is because the one name that is, I think, associated with your country is Danida.
Yeah.
Everyone who is in the development world knows and hears of Danida and what Danida has done. And why I ask about the thinking behind it is because the thinking then would give us an understanding of why it is, or the focus that Denmark has with the focus it has with regards to develop the development agenda. Now, an agenda that I think your country has also participated in a great deal is the human rights agenda. Yes. Now, how then do you tie the two, development and human rights?
I think they go hand in hand. I think if you look at any country, the more developed a country is, the more educated your population is, the more human rights flourish. And for us, I mean, we come from a small liberal country with a very strong set of values on human rights and democracy, and for us, it's I mean, completely in alignment with everything that we have in the UN Charter that the whole world agreed upon, and that's what we're trying to live in. And for us, I mean, we, in terms of development assistance and Danida, as you say, it's very everybody knows Danida in Kenya, and if you go to the countryside, you'll find a lot of children with the name of Danida, for instance. But it's I mean, we are one of the richest countries in the world, and we feel a moral obligation to share that. We think it's only fair. And we have done that. We are one of the few countries in the world who gives away 0.7% of our GDP in development assistance at a global level. So it's part of who we are and what we believe in. And then, I mean, yeah.
If you look at the kind of, as we're talking about this, days of activism against GBV, and then ahead of tomorrow, the World Human Rights Day. And just back of what City is asking about Danida and the programs that Danida has been involved in Kenya, when it comes to human rights, what kind of impact would you say has Danida and the government of Denmark contributed towards the entrenchment and realization of human rights in Kenya?
I mean, that's the challenge with having a lot of activities in human rights and governance is that it's very difficult to put your finger and say this is exactly the result, because it's all a process, it's all a dialogue. I mean, we've been supporting civil society, which we think is part of any society, and plays also in Denmark a constructive role in moving forward. We've been supporting private sector. We've been supporting legal organizations throughout the years in Kenya. And creating that dialogue, I think, has moved quite a lot of things forward. We were very active also in the making of the new constitution, not by saying what was in it, but supporting Kenyans to engage actively in it, and having legal experts coming with suggestions, inspiration, recommendations, etc., etc. And again, I think it's a lot what we do together, because we don't do it alone, and Denmark will never come and tell Kenya you should do this or you should do that. But like a good example is the conference on population and development in 2019 that Denmark and Kenya co-hosted with the UN. There was a joint thing that we did together with the government of Kenya at that time. Again, putting gender-based violence and human rights for women on the agenda. So it's something that we do together. It's not Denmark coming and telling Kenya how you should develop your country at all.
Why does that work? Why does that method work? Because the opposite is true of other development partners, whereby it is, sure, we will offer our assistance, but then it's what many want. Exactly. It's prescriptive, and in some cases also would be probably seen as patronizing. Why does the model that Denmark uses Why does that work? Because here we are also talking about human rights. We're talking about gender-based violence, etc., etc. We've seen situations before from development partners where it's, look, we will hold your hand, but at the same time, make sure you get your human rights record in order. Make sure you do 1, 2, 3. And this is how we want you to do it. Why does the opposite work for Denmark?
I think the answer is very easy. What I've seen throughout my career is that when you try to put or impose what you think others should do, and they don't really believe it, they will not do it. I mean, it's for me that's very simple. We can come up with 10 conditions to something, but if the other part, they might say yes, that's right, and we'll do it. But when when push comes to shove, they will not. If you don't believe it, if you don't agree that this should be done, you won't do it. I mean that's what I've seen over and over again, and you can use that for everything. Whether you do job creation together with a country, or you do human rights, or you do more trade, etc., etc. I mean you can't. And maybe I don't know, because Denmark is a small country and we are a lightweight in the world compared to other countries. So also we don't have the weight to impose on others what we think. So maybe we just have that approach. It comes natural for us.
Mm-hmm. It's 7:30, so let's take a break and then continue the conversation. Balozi Ole Tonki is the ambassador of Denmark to Kenya. He's here with us today. We're talking about the relationship between Kenya and Denmark, and as we commemorate the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence and ahead of tomorrow's World Human Rights Day, what is it that we've done together as a team? Ndu,
yes.
Please tell Balozi about the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 and the 37,500.
It's getting onto the flip side of life, Balozi. And we're looking at this great technology companion, which allows you to do so many things. Take videos of your great experiences in Kenya. Have an absolutely fantastic experience when it comes to video conferencing. Again, taking your pictures, all hands-free. And Samsung is saying that you can get it, in light with Christmas and Black November, that you can get it for 37,000 shillings, 37,500 shillings less than what you normally would. So 150,000 shillings, but we're knocking off 37,500, so you can get it at a bargain of 112,500 bob. Flip side of life with Samsung Z Flip 4.
Good deal, isn't it? Good deal, right?
It sounds like a great deal.
Yeah. 28 minutes to 8. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Meet the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 series with a new epic standard for tablets. The Galaxy Tab S8, S8 Plus, and S8 Ultra come with the brand new S8 Pen, so you can power your creativity and take your productivity to the next level. Featuring the fastest chip ever on a Samsung Galaxy tablet, you can be sure of lightning fast speeds when you play or work. Connect your Tab S8 to your other Galaxy devices for a seamless, continuous experience. Available in select Samsung stores countrywide. It's a magical Christmas at Westgate Shopping Mall. Spend 1,000 Kenya shillings and above and stand to win an all-inclusive Mediterranean cruise to the most beautiful cities in Europe. Visit Rome, Venice, Barcelona, and get to bring someone with you. You also have the chance to win once-in-a-lifetime balloon safari over the Masai Mara and a luxury stay at Marangeche Camp, and the opportunity to win 500,000 worth of luxury furniture from Queen Picks. It's magical, and it's all yours to experience simply by shopping at Westgate Shopping Mall.
This is 00 Direct, woman host, music by women and only women guest.
If COVID could mutate and evolve 6 times over the last 2 years, how many versions of yourself have emerged in the last 2 years?
Do not, and you don't have to give anything to get ahead. All you have to do is give out and show out your talent.
Catch 00 Direct every Saturday from 10 a.m. on SpiceFM.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
This is one of the best ways to spend a Saturday.
All right, sun is up in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 24 and lows of 16. 17 and cloudy in Nakuru, highs of 23, and it'll go to come down to lows of 13. We'll see lows of 12 in a rainy Nyeri at 15, and it's 15 and light rain in Eldoret, highs of 23. 27 and light rain in parts of Mombasa, highs of 32, and we'll see highs of 32 in a mostly sunny Malindi. All right, looking into Kisumu, it's 21 and sunny, highs of 27 and highs of 26 in a sunny Kakamega at 20, 17 and partly sunny in Kampala, highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 32 in a sunny Dar es Salaam at 26. Johannesburg is cloudy at 15, highs of 21, and we'll see highs of 32 in a mostly clear Lagos at 25, and it's 22 and clear in Kinshasa. It'll go to highs of 31.
Spice up your life.
All right, some traffic on North Airport Road heading out towards Outer Ring. Slows down a little bit as you then get further along Outer Ring. It's going to slow down at your junctions with Savannah Road and then Manyanja Road up towards Kangunda Road and then Jogo Road, or rather Juja Road, heading out into the city. We're seeing that slow down as well on the Thika Superhighway. Use your service lanes as you're trying to get into the CBD. Kiambu Road is also packing up right around the DCI headquarters there. We're seeing inbound traffic now multiplying to those lanes that it normally does every day. Coming out of Westlands now is when we're seeing James Gishuru pick up with some traffic heading towards Waiyaki Way, as well as Ring Road Westlands starting to pack up as well. Doesn't look too bad on Gong Road. It has slowed down just a little bit. Naivasha Road connecting from Kikuyu will then connect with Ngong Road, and that slows down a tad, but nothing too terrible now. Traffic isn't so bad this morning. Let's wait and see what happens as we go along through SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Talk to us there, and we keep things moving this morning.
Spice and everything nice. SpiceFM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94
Conversation continues on Spice FM, on KTN News, and online on YouTube. We are hosting Ambassador Ole Tonki, Denmark's ambassador to Kenya, and we are talking about very many things. Balozi, you've just told us, you're one of the wealthiest countries in the world. 0.7% of your GDP, you've basically dedicated it to giving back to other parts of the world. Now, there's been a lot of controversy and, just debate on the kind of aid that comes from the developed world to African countries and whether that aid comes as a form of control. Because then you see when you and your colleagues call a press conference and say, you know what, we would like to encourage the Kenyan government to do this and the other. You're basically not encouraging the Kenyan government to do this and the other. The news today is that there's speculation. The reason why Raila Odinga called off his planned Jamhuri Day rally was because he received some encouragement from the international community. And it comes from the power, but we don't know whether that's for sure. It's just the speculation. But we've seen instances and incidences where, let's say ambassadors from the European Union call a press conference and they say, yeah, we would like to encourage this and the other of the country. We'd like to call upon. It's basically not just calling upon, but it's using the leverage of the aid that you give. Is that a fair judgment or fair accusation?
I don't see it that way. For Denmark, we have a partnership with Kenya that we signed with the government. We completely agree on all the areas where we work and the development assistance that we provide. I believe it's a win-win for both countries. I don't see us imposing or dictating what Kenyan government or Kenyan leaders should do or should not do. That's not how we work. I don't agree with it.
You see, the question I'd asked earlier on regarding the policies that you have, we do understand that policies differ. And we do understand that countries like Denmark didn't participate in the colonization of Africa. We know that. So you don't have a colonial history. Now, when we look at development purely from an economical perspective, the reality is most of the assistance that we are given are not as free as it is stated. There's usually a little twist to it, meaning if, for instance, someone gives me development aid and they say they're going to help, say, Kenya build a factory, whatever the country, whatever is brought in to help put up that factory will come from the country that's giving the help. Now, what it therefore means is that moving forward, everything that has to do with the repairs, the maintenance, will have to come from the country that gave the aid. I actually consider it to be fair because it makes sense. It's a quid pro quo. What my friend and colleague Eric was actually bringing to the fore is that honest conversation is not always there. It is presented as though it is a gift that has absolutely no ties, and that is not entirely the truth. There's absolutely nothing wrong with there being ties. After all, there is nothing for free on this particular planet. There's always something attached to it. But more significantly, when you look at what you said regarding looking at what the people you are partnering with consider to be important and providing assistance on what they consider to be important, not what you feel they think is important. Now, again, it's an ongoing debate, and what muddies these waters, and we're going to get there at some point, is the discussion that has gripped the world with regards to the environment. Since the problems that we've had in Russia, when Russia attacked Ukraine, all sorts of economic issues have risen. Now, among the things that has happened, activities that were directly related to the environment and the degradation of it have come to the fore. And that's what Eric mentioned, the issue of coal. The Germans are having a serious conversation about it. Other countries, not just, when I say having a conversation, I'm being polite. They are going back to the usage of coal. And yet we say, but we have coal deposits and we are being told categorically you cannot exploit it. Now, it's those conversations that we find in an imbalance in. Yes. That is the background from which we are speaking. Yes.
But and I mean, that I get. I mean, the world is interdependent, and just going a bit back to what you say, when huge investors like Apple invest in Denmark,
yes,
they also have a say in where their factory or their data plant should be, etc. So I mean that goes on all over the world. So that I very much agree on. I think if you look at the issue of environment and uses of coal, for instance, I mean the huge challenge right now is that with the problem of that we don't have enough energy and gas in Europe, is that you cannot change your energy system from one day to another. And they are looking in Europe, and it's pretty serious. Even in Denmark, the energy prices have exploded in Denmark, and we are seeing things that we haven't seen, at least in my lifetime in Denmark, in terms of that. They are talking about that they have to shut down parts of the electricity net in countries in Europe. So they are really stretching it and trying to find any solution possible in the short run to curb with this problem, including, as you're saying, reintroducing coal in some places out of bare necessity. Then I do understand it sounds odd that other countries then preach to African countries that you cannot touch your coal, for instance. So I mean, but you can flip it around and say, we have a world today where the price of producing energy using renewable sources is actually on par with fossil fuel. And we have experienced that in Denmark. We've developed our renewable energy sector the last 30, 40 years. The first 20, 30 years, it was much more expensive than if we had used gas or coal in Denmark. And the Danish consumers, they paid a much higher price for the electricity than they should have, because we started to introduce more and more wind power, for instance. But nowadays, we can actually produce electricity from wind at the same price as we can with fossil fuels in Denmark, and sometimes even cheaper. So the big challenge is how to integrate it into the grid, etc., etc. But the fact is that today, and the trend is that renewable energy is becoming more and more cheap, and that is the technology of the future. Everybody expects that in 10, 15 years' time, no one would ever invest in anything related to coal or oil or anything, because renewable energy technology has overtaken it. And everybody will drive in electric cars because it's less expensive as such. And if you look at a country like Kenya, when we talk about renewable energy, I mean, Kenya has an abundance of geothermal, you have wind, you have sun, and you have hydro. You have all the renewable energy sources available in the world in abundance. And you can look at your coal as a natural resource and something you want to exploit, but you can equally look at your wind or your sun or your hydro or your geothermal as a natural resource that you should exploit. So it is a choice. What do you want to exploit? It's not a bigger resource than the other. In my head, it's just it's a traditional way of thinking that we have this gold, we'll dig it out and we'll sell it, and we don't have to import. But it's just a matter of how you think about it. But again, it's the choice of Kenya. But I think the Kenyan government has said that they want to go 100% renewable. They have taken that choice, and I think it's a wise choice in terms of how the technology is developing, because a country has to follow the technology also and see the opportunities that are there instead.
Well said.
The big challenge will come with, and we talk about this a number of times on the show, is on technology itself. So the technology that is used to tap these natural resources, the renewable, the technology that's used to actually get our geothermal off the ground in Olkaria, the technology that's used to tap the wind in Turkana, or to tap the solar currently in Garissa, all that technology is owned by somebody else. And this somebody else is in the developed world, who had other sources of energy that he used to experiment and develop this new technology. And now when we're talking about, all right, so let's move into this renewable energy technology, it's still expensive for us to start off. Now, in the balance of things, now that you're very good at talking about human rights and rights, should it be much easier if the developed world were, for example, to say, as our way of compensating for the effect that we've had with our dirty sources of energy, we are going to make this new technology of going green much cheaper and subsidized or even free, so then the developing world can easily access that. So if we had, for example, very cheap ways of getting wind turbines, would actually be having more wind turbines in not only Loyangalani but other parts of the country, or solar panels, or we'd be able to tap more into our geothermal sources. Would that be a better balance, in your opinion?
But I think to a large extent that's what's happening. But you have to separate it. Part of the it's a private market. It's demand and supply, and things have a cost. But with, for instance, with our development assistance, we are transferring technology in how to manage a grid, an electricity grid, with a lot of variable renewable energy, as they say, into the grid. It's a technology that we have developed in Denmark for decades, again, because we have more than 50% of our electricity coming from wind power, which goes up and down. But still we have a super stable grid. So we have developed that technology for the last 20 years. And we have a partnership with the Ministry of Energy here, where we have experts coming from the Ministry of Energy in Denmark, sharing exactly that technology with the Ministry of Energy in Kenya, as part of our development assistance. And I mean, in the geothermal, there's a lot of Kenyan engineers and businessmen and investors who are very much involved in geothermal, and I think Kenya really owns that technology little by little. Of course, you don't from one day to another learn how to manage it, but I think Kenya is pretty far in terms of know-how and technology in geothermal. I mean, I've been up visiting the center there, and it's pretty impressive what Kenya has managed there. Of course, with some of it is through foreign investors, but a lot of it is through government investments as well.
But who owns the technology?
Yes.
Technology.
You see, go ahead, Excellency.
No, but the technology is owned by the investors, and again, some of it is invested by Kenyan government, and some of it is by private investors. So it's owned by, I mean, the private investors, they own the plant that they have invested in and set up as such. Yeah.
You see, using the word partnership and thinking about how it is the role of partnerships can actually play into even whether it's economic, whether it's industrialization, or whatever business aspects. I look at the training component, the transfer of skills component, the investment in it by the donor country. I can give examples of countries who partner with Kenya. The one I think of off the top of my head is Japan. Okay, there's a university we call JKU. Many people don't know that the Japanese actually built that university from the ground up. All of it. The master plan for Nairobi, the master plan for Mombasa, and the free port that we're talking about, all that came with JICA, the Japanese Overseas Investment Agency. I'm simply saying, when you look at that and you look at the openings that particular country has had with education, now that's technology, information, know-how transfer. When you open up people to study and work in some of these industries, when they come back, they actually do have the know-how that we're speaking of. Now, it's in this regard and against this background that I ask. For instance, I am aware of what the Danish government has done over the years. Now, if I may ask, in the education sector, yes, how much has the government of Denmark done to ensure that a lot of this knowledge, a lot of the specific and specialized capacities that they have is transferred to Kenyans through the education system? As in, how many scholarships does Denmark offer in the course of a year?
We have actually, as part of that more technical collaboration on electricity, but we have a similar technical collaboration on waste management, which is also an issue in Kenya. We have the same technical collaboration in food safety in Kenya, making sure that what you buy in the supermarkets, you don't get sick from it. So as part of that, we have had, I think, almost 1,000 Kenyans in Denmark on specialized courses, either at university or special training courses, but also going out visiting Danish industries or companies, universities, etc., in order to learn and to understand those different technologies. So it's an integrated part of how we work. Also, we don't have Denmark, we don't have an education program as such here in Kenya. We have had that in other countries, but not here in Kenya.
Why?
It's all a matter of priorities. We've had it in where I was in Bolivia, for instance, where they had a huge challenge with the education system. I think the education system of Kenya, it's oftentimes also a matter of where are the resources, where are the biggest needs, and it's a political choice. What do you do in which countries in together with? I mean, when you have a dialogue with the country. So we haven't had that, but we've had these technical collaborations.
I understand perfectly. You see, the reason why I asked this question is when I look at, again, I am on this matter of partnerships. It's a question of you have something, it's in existence, but then how do you enhance it? Take the view that the perspective I'm presenting here is a Kenyan telling you what Kenyans would like, would need, how they would view it. Because once you have a collaboration that extends to the field of education, in my mind, there's nothing that has greater effects than that, in my mind. It is long-lasting. It's something that you never really run away from. It's continuous.
It is. But I mean, like we've had a long-standing collaboration in agriculture because Denmark, we are an agricultural society just like Kenya. A huge part of that is training and learning farmers and new techniques, know-how, etc. So I mean, a part of all these different programs, training is a huge part of it. So I mean, it's the same on when we do climate change programs. Again, training is a huge part of it. Adapting to new technologies.
Okay.
What do you think the future looks like? I mean, just from what you've been able to see, the different countries that you've gone to, and looking at the experience with Kenya today, one of the big issues that we continuously see is that at the negotiating table, I don't know what happens. At the negotiating table, we seem to often, not just Kenya, other countries, seem to get the short end of the stick. Do you think that that's, from where you sit, is that a problem from the negotiators or from a pre-conditioned model of how the outcome is designed to be? That will we see a situation at some point where Kenya and other countries do not have to be on the receiving end of this partnership, but actually can be those who set the pace?
I really don't see Kenya as on the receiving end of the partnerships as such. At least that's not my experience. When we talk to different ministries here in Kenya, I believe that international collaboration, whether it's development cooperation or if it's trade or if it's investment, I do believe it's a win-win for both countries. Denmark, we have no wish absolutely whatsoever to come and exploit Kenya or tell Kenya what to do or not to do. That's not how it is. I believe that it's a win-win for both countries. I think it's a win-win when Danish companies invest in a juice factory in Kenya and introduce new technology on how to do that, creating also jobs for Kenyans. Again, for me, it's a win-win situation.
Something that perhaps you might tell these juice-making companies that come from Denmark, people don't know about them. You see, if people don't know, it might as well not exist. Denmark is like a silent partner. One, they're there, but you hear of them, but you never really quite see them. What I'm saying is, you will suffer the backlash of a perception that people have. It may have no bearing whatsoever in reality, but it's a perception. So, if they could speak a little louder, a little more about the things that you do, these delightful companies and organizations, tell them to talk about it. Let people know that this is what they do and they come from Denmark and this is how Denmark is helping. It helps because then people know, so
this is the one.
Denmark.
Ambassador, we thank you very much for joining us today. Right. And as your closing remarks, maybe what is it that Kenya can actually export to Denmark, in addition to what we're currently exporting?
I think for me, I think a great example of what Kenya can do is we have a lot of imports of coffee to Denmark. Before days, we used to import the green beans, roast it and pack it in Denmark or in Europe, and where all the value addition and all the jobs were created. Now they have established a new factory here in Nairobi that actually import coffee from all over East Africa. They roast it and package it, make sure that the value addition is done here in Kenya and the jobs are created here in Kenya, and then they send it off to Denmark, to the supermarkets, shelf ready, like that. So I think Kenya can offer a lot on that, and definitely will develop in that direction.
Great. Ambassador Ole Tonke is Denmark's ambassador to Kenya. He's Kenya's guest. Thank you very much for joining us today, and hope to have you again soon.
Thank you very much for an interesting discussion.
Keep it here for more. Good morning. It's 8 a.m.
I'm Dennis Aseto. The Bungoma County senatorial aspirant in the Ford Kenya ticket of Wafula Akoli continues to lead, followed by Wafula Munyinyi of DAPK. So far, the results of the votes counted by IEBC show that Akoli is leading in all the 7 constituencies. We continue to follow up on the numbers as they keep changing, and be sure that we will be bringing you the very latest in a subsequent news bulletin now. All the 10 Nairobi County Executive Committees appointed by Governor Johnson Sakaja await for swearing into office after being unanimously approved by the Nairobi County Assembly. The Nairobi County Assembly expressed their satisfaction with the nominees after the Committee on Appointments vetted them Wednesday, with each nominee taking 45 minutes. The Nairobi MCAs asked the CECs to serve the residents diligently. And former Wajir County Woman Representative Fatima Gedi is among 7 nominees who are now awaiting to be sworn into office after the National Assembly approved their appointment to join the Commission on Revenue Allocation. Benedict Mwasia Mutiso, Jonas Vincent Kuko, Isabel Nyambura Wayaki and Hadija Nganyi were nominated from the majority wing. Gedi, George Midio and Wilfred Koi Tamet have been nominated by the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition to join the agency that is tasked with recommending the basis for equitable sharing of revenues raised nationally between the national and the county government. The MPs who had adjourned for a 2-month-long Christmas holiday were recalled for this special sitting. And protests took place at the Milimani High Court even as suspected killer cop Ahmed Rashid failed to appear in court for plea taking. Through his lawyer Dunstan Omari, Rashid says he failed to appear as they were not served with a summons. The court moved the plea to January 26 next year, stating that if he failed to appear, a warrant of arrest would be issued against him. IPOA had moved to the Milimani court last week to obtain summons against the police officer after the DPP approved murder charges against him. Rashid is being investigated for the death of Jamal Mohammed and Mohammed Dahir following a shooting which occurred on March 2017.
Plea taking for one Ahmed Rashid has been deferred to the 26th of January. In between, there is a notice of motion. We filed a petition to challenge this decision. To date, the DPP has not responded to the grounds that we raised. We are determined to pursue justice for Rashid from the High Court to the Supreme Court of this country.
The government has incorporated 592 Narok Rangers into National Police Reserve to enhance its security coverage of the Bar Reserve. The move is part of the efforts to improve the operational capability of the reservists, who will complement other security agencies in fighting crime in the first county. Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Moldo said this during the unveiling of the reservist at the Masai Mara National Reserve that the officers underwent rigorous paramilitary training in different training colleges, including the GSU Training College in Embakasi, Administration Police Training College, the Kenya Forest Service Training College, and the Kenya Wildlife Enforcement Academy for Wildlife Management. And Kenya's representative to the 5th East Africa Legislative Assembly members are expected to undergo a 2-day induction course, albeit inconveniences that they may have been caused by the sudden change of the exercise. State Department for the East Africa Community Principal Secretary Abdi Dubat said the ministry proposal was to conduct the induction in early January 2023, but the government's feeling was that the members needed to have basic and important information before the swearing-in, which will take place on 19th of December this year. The PS noted that the government was committed to organizing an in-depth country orientation to share with the members some of the key issues in which the country would like their support in order to promote Kenya's national strategic interest. And Egerton University Vice-Chancellor Professor Isaac Kibwage and University Council members were sentenced to a 30-day jail term for contempt of court. Justice Devin Derito imposed an alternative of 100,000 shillings penalty for Kibwage and the 8 council members. Justice Derito of the Employment and Labour Relations Court in Nakuru found them guilty of contempt by ignoring court orders on lecturers' salary cut. The 9 failed to implement a court order directing them to pay their lecturers 100% of their salaries. Egerton University Academic Staff Union chapter had filed for contempt after the university imposed a 40% pay cut in 2020. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseta. Good morning.
Today's Newswire is powered by Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. Listen to crisp and clear sounds while on the go.
All right, we're looking at some of it seeping over, going towards North Airport Road, out towards Outer Ring, and all those roads that touch on Outer Ring as you're trying to get to the Thika Superhighway from the other direction seem to have a bit of traffic just at those junctions. We're looking at Manyanja Road, Juja Road, some Kangunda Road here and there. Also, it's thick on Jogo Road going out towards Landis into the CBD. Coming off of the Thika Superhighway has not been so tumultuous today, but we're looking at some traffic at Survey as heading out towards Pangani. Now it's only see the traffic that's starting to build coming up through Westlands. Not so bad on Naivasha Road, then touching on Gong Road, but then we're seeing some traffic in the belly of Limuru out through